Greetings, Columbo fans. Welcome to the next episode of the Columbo Confab podcast. This is Sean.
And Steve.
And today we're going to be talking about a classic.
Yes, so we're going to be talking about Rest in Peace, You Fabricated PTSD-Field Fabricated Wife.
That's not what it's called. The Rest in Peace, Mrs. Columbo. But there's Columbo news.
Same thing.
Yeah, there's Columbo news. Actually, it's not news. Okay. So before we started recording, Steve and I, as we do, we have a little bit of pre-show banter, a little bit of foreplay.
We banter together.
Yeah, banter. A little
bantering,
little podcast foreplay to get us in the mood for this. And we both wondered if there was a Columbo porno, and I did some searching. And actually, Steve, you thought of a really good name for a Columbo porno, didn't you?
Oh, we're not going to talk about that.
And but ladies and gentlemen, according to someone on Twitter, there was a Columbo porno a long time ago. But I want to know details. I want to know the name of the movie, and I want to know where I can get it, because that sounds hilarious. And come on, Steve, aren't you going to tell the ladies?
So you really wanted to watch a Columbo theme?
Did we not, Steve? Did we not actually review a Doctor Who porn on our previous podcast?
We did, but I'm trying to keep this podcast family friendly, and we shouldn't talk about that.
Okay, all right. I think we're a little late on that, though. Fuck.
Oh.
Shit. Motherfucker. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Shame.
Yeah.
I hope we get negative feedback for you about that kind of behavior, because that's just wrong.
So, okay. So if you know of a Columbo parody porn that ever existed, please send us a link. Send us an email.
Send us a copy.
columboconfab@gmail.com. So, yeah.
I'm sure there's got to be something. It seems like the 70s and 80s would be rife with that.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they've made a parody porn of it like everything else. Anyway. Columbone. That was the word that you came up with, Steve. The title.
Maybe.
Anyway, okay.
Yes. So is this the episode you often hold over my head as the definitive reason why there's proof of a Mrs. Columbo?
Yes.
Is this that episode? This is the one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but I thought that before I watched it for this. I haven't seen it in a really long time.
Okay, well, I'm glad this is it then, because this is not the final nail in the coffin of our ongoing debate. So, but we're going to talk about that at the end. So.
Okay, all right. So what's this about here, Steve?
Well, let's start off with the opening. You know, this is one of those episodes that has they do quick shots of scenes in the episode you're about to watch.
Yeah.
And did you recognize the voiceover? The voice?
At the beginning? Oh, you mean... Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Like,
not the actual film itself, but like the TV segue thing. You know, these are scenes from tonight's episode of Columbo. You know, I don't remember, no.
I don't know the guy's name. That's how much research I've done for tonight.
Okay.
But it's the guy who does the voice of Optimus Prime from the Transformer cartoon from the 80s.
Oh, that's funny. How in the hell do you know that? That is hilarious.
Who doesn't recognize that voice? I mean, it's such a distinctive voice. I can't believe you didn't recognize it.
Did not.
Because we have talked off air about G.I. Joe action figures as growing up as a kid and debating who has the best outfit and what didn't make sense. But you never watched Transformers?
Never watched the Transformers. Never got into the Transformers. But Robert Foxworth, who is a Columbo murderer, does one of the voices in the Transformer movies.
Okay.
I mentioned that when we...
So, Leonard Nimoy was in the Transformer movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Who did he play? It's not like I'm...
let's really talk about Columbo. We could go on and on. People who download this podcast don't really want to hear the Transformer podcast. They want to hear the Columbo Confab podcast.
Yes. Okay, so
anyways, that's just that caught my attention immediately. But we start off with we're at a funeral for somebody. We're not real sure who it is at this point. And we have a Vivian Dimitri, who is played by, what was her name? Helen Shaver. Very, very beautiful woman, by the way. But she's doing a voiceover, and I don't really remember much because she's just going on and on. We see her and we see Columbo. Columbo looks very sad. It's raining at this gravesite. This eulogy is being said, and by the way, the eulogy is probably the longest flipping eulogy. Now, eulogies can be long, but I think this would probably break a record if it was in real life. But anyways, Vivian is going on about her, she's wanting revenge and basically setting up that she's going to be the killer.
Right.
And what her motives are. And I like, the one thing I did write down that she said, and you stupid Columbo.
I didn't catch that. Yeah, I didn't.
She called him stupid Columbo. She hates Columbo. And we're about to find out why she called him that.
Okay. Yeah, and did you notice that it's raining? Like, I have never seen it rain.
With daylight, yeah. It's like sunny outside, and I'm going to bring that up later. That there's another scene where it doesn't make sense why the sun's out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful day, but it's raining.
Columbo doesn't have an umbrella, so
no.
He's soaked. He's absolutely soaked. At least he is in the beginning.
But his hair's holding up really well.
Yeah, it's
really frizzy.
Yeah.
Peter Falk's hair is very frizzy in this.
Yes. So the fact that the episode's called "Rest in Peace, Mrs. Columbo" didn't really give you a tip that this might be Mrs. Columbo's funeral.
Well, okay, yes, I guess technically.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, we could have gone off what Optimus Prime's voiceover said at the very beginning. But we don't know. I mean, it could have been anybody. It could have been Mrs. Columbo. Could have died later in the episode.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes.
So
yes. Go on. You're about to say something.
Vivian is a real estate broker, and she works for a guy named Charlie
Chase?
Charlie Chambers. Charlie Chambers. And
God, I really need to get this together.
Yeah, so there's never been a realtor in Columbo before, but this story is not really about real estate. So we find out that she's a widow. Her husband died in prison, I think maybe 2 years ago.
From a heart attack?
Yes.
Even though it was the prison that killed him. It was the prison.
Yes, the prison that killed him. And but it really wasn't the prison. She doesn't really
not all the pork chops and cigarettes and
and if you see, all the it's funny, we see pictures of him and he looks like a perfectly normal, healthy young guy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing when she's talking about him. I'm thinking about this overweight, balding Italian guy. Because what's the last name? Like Giovanni or Giovanni or something like that.
Her last name is Dimitri, but that's not her.
No, that's her maiden name.
I don't remember, but it's very.
But it's an Italian name. So I'm thinking this big, fat, balding Italian with greasy fingers and sausage-shaped greasy fingers. But when you see photos of him, he's a really attractive guy. I mean, he's young. There's yeah. I mean, yeah, he didn't die of a heart attack. He got shivved to death, I think.
Yeah. Because you're right. I'm also trying to picture like Karen Walker's husband from Will and Grace. Remember, he went to prison. That's another spouse that we never see. What's his name? Stan Walker.
Columbo.
Yeah, I know. I just realized that there's a lot of TV spouses that we never see on mostly sitcoms. So her husband was put away by Columbo because her husband
20 years ago.
Yeah, her actually it's
20 years previously.
10 years, I thought.
Oh,
because he went to prison for 10 years. Wait, he went to prison. It was all she says something like this all happened 10 years ago, and then he went to prison for 8 years, and died 2 years before his sentence was over. So I can't. It's not really important. I know there's somebody listening that probably thinks it is important, but it's not. So, go ahead.
Yeah, so Charlie's her boss. I guess he owns the real estate agency or something. And she feels, I don't know if rightly so, but she feels that Charlie, her boss, who, by the way, kind of helped her out of a kind of a rut by giving her a job and letting her live in a home for free for a while. She decides that Charlie was the guy who turned in her husband Peter, and so her first act of revenge was to kill him. And so, but before we kind of go into the murder itself, we were introduced to Vivian, showing a house, and she's showing it to this southeastern, maybe from Alabama. I'm not real sure where they're from. They mentioned it, but I forgot.
I think Virginia.
Virginia. Oh, for Virginia. Okay. Well, anyway, so they've got money, and the husband's kind of a stickler for cash. He doesn't want to spend any, but the wife talks him into it, right? But yeah, it's showing that there's a lot of money being spent on these homes, and that house is for $6 million, and he doesn't want to pay anything over $1 million or something like that.
But they buy it anyway because
buy it for 5.7.
Yeah,
actually, so she was able to sell, and apparently it was a dump.
Yeah. There's an underlying thing here that this real estate firm probably, even though they're selling $1 million houses, that they're not as great as they are made out to be because they're being sued as well by a number of people. But we don't.
Oh, was that the ones that were on that one estate, the
Falcon Estate?
Falcon Estate, yeah,
something like that. Yeah, because that's who she basically frames.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, to get them off her, I guess. But yeah, we also found out she's got a love affair with a guy named Leland.
Oh, Leland St. John is his name. Do you know this guy? Does he look familiar to you at all?
He looks very familiar, but I can't place him. He
is Ian McShane. He was in a show called Deadwood, and also. That's what he's most popular known for. He was the lead in that. Deadwood is a great show. It was on Showtime or HBO. I can't remember which. It was on for 2 or 3 seasons, and then it was cut quite suddenly. He played a guy named Swearingen, and he's just constantly drinking and cussing and cocksucker. That was a great part. But Steve, you may know him from season 2 Asylum of American Horror Story Asylum, as the pedophile Santa. Do you remember that?
No. I don't remember the pedophile Santa.
There's an episode where and
Santa comes up in this episode too of Columbo. That's funny.
Yeah. You don't remember the pedophile? He was only in one episode, I think. But
no, I don't remember.
You don't remember this? Okay. All right. Now, I mean, there's a lot that happened in that season of American Horror Story, as there usually always.
That was my favorite season of that series, by the way. But yeah, okay.
He's in many, 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 many things. I didn't bother to look up what else he's been in because this. What do you think this is? A research podcast? Anyway,
no.
Yeah, but he's probably the biggest name in the cast, but not at the time that this was made. Because there's also Roscoe Lee Brown who comes up later on. But go ahead, continue.
So one of the I don't know if I'd call it a clue, but it's definitely a major point of interest for the episode is that before the murder, this is still very early on in the episode, she calls LAPD and she wants to talk to the homicide department to see to let Lieutenant Columbo know that his dental appointment has been rescheduled, which I think is odd. I think the department should have made better records of this call.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe they did, but that's odd. So she's you can tell she's obviously interested in Columbo.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to know when he's going to be back in town from his vacation.
Yeah.
So that's all we know at this point, and she's faking to be the dental assistant.
Yeah. And
it's funny, isn't the previous episode a dentist episode? It's the one where we just reviewed it.
Yeah, Uneasy Lies of Crown.
But the crown, yes,
I think so. I think that's either after this or
no, I think it's before because it's on the same disc. I think this is the episode before.
Oh,
this
one. yes.
It's disc 5.
Okay, so yeah. I thought for a minute that he was going to go see his dentist. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What?
He does go see his dentist. It uneasy lies the crown. So when he says later on, oh no, he said his dentist moved to Florida. Okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So she's got an appointment with Charlie at his office. He's at his office watching the basketball game, drinking, as you do when you are in an office in Columbo, drinking.
And she's wearing a red silk dress, very, very attractive.
Oh well, she's a lady out.
How is she's still alive? I think we confirmed that. She's still alive, or is she dead?
She is still alive.
Okay.
Charlie's dead though. He died about.
Yeah, Charlie's dead.
Yeah. No, in real life, he's dead. Anyway, so she goes, she kills Charlie with a gun, with a silencer.
Yeah.
And takes his ATM card or his debit card, whatever you would. I think they called them ATM cards back then.
I think so.
And then she goes on her little date with Leland St. John, and excuses herself to go to the bathroom or whatever. But what she's really doing to set up the dumbest alibi ever is she goes downstairs, goes around the corner, and takes out, like, I don't know how much, $1,200 out of the ATM.
I thought it was 200 or something.
I don't remember. This was
200. This was before they had cameras, by the way. For people who, for kids, which probably do not exist, that listen to this podcast, they back then they did not have cameras on all ATMs. There were ATMs where it was just all you needed was your PIN. Now there's cameras everywhere.
I didn't even think of that. You're right. Huh.
Well, back then, no. I can't remember there being cameras on ATMs. If they were hidden.
But
back then, it would have been big, bulky units. Well, not these little tiny things.
My favorite ATM machine scene in any movie is Maximum Overdrive. When the movie opens up with Stephen King at an ATM. And on the screen it flashes, "You're an asshole, you're an asshole," and he looks off screen and goes, "Tabitha, this machine just called me an asshole." Did you ever see Maximum Overdrive?
No.
Yeah,
never saw that movie.
Yeah, just save an hour and a half of your life.
Save my money. Okay.
Yeah.
Before she actually does kill though Charlie, she talks about Pete and kind of explains the history, why Pete went to jail. Why she thinks Charlie was the one. But she does bring up Columbo, but she doesn't call him by name yet. And she says something to the effect of, and there was that lieutenant, the one who hounded him and hounded him. Mm-hmm. I'm like, a lieutenant who hounded him and hounded him. Who could that be? Who could that be in the show?
Mm-hmm.
No idea. Who does that sound like to you?
I think it sounds kind of like Ironsides. I don't know. Anyway, so
Kojak. Yeah, I don't know.
She shoots him, and when she shoots him, she says, "First you, then the cop," and shoots him dead.
And then she tells us, "See you in hell, Charlie," and shoots him. Now, I want to ask you something. When I see scenes like this, I often think about if someone has pulled a gun on me, and let's say they're 3-4 feet away. What would be your tactic for survival at this point?
Oh, you know what I would say?
Because standing still directly in front of the gun is not going to work.
I have a strategy. I know exactly what I'm going to say when that happens to me, if it ever does.
Yes.
I'm going to say, "Hey, don't fool around with that. Put that down. Don't fool around with that, Dr. Keppel. Put that down, for God's sakes."
What's that from?
That's from, that poor guy who gets shot by Robert Culp in the projection booth. Put that.
Yes.
Down. Put that. Don't fool around with that, Dr. Keppel. Put that down, Doctor. I can't remember.
So you don't have a strategy. So
it would be get the hell out of the room, probably, or it would be.
Well, but would you stand still in front? Would you try to move around
yes,
like back and forth, trying to give them not an easy. So you're going to get shot, right?
Yes.
But you don't want them to shoot a vital organ, so you don't want to just stand still to give them an easy shot to the heart. You want to move around a lot, right? Maybe like jump from left foot to right foot, do a little jiggle.
Yeah, a little zigzag.
Like you do something, and they try to knock the gun out of their hand. I don't know. I mean, again, you're going to get shot, but do you want it to be a fatal shot, or do you want to be a shot you can survive? That's my theory.
Well, apparently
you want to move around.
Apparently, Charlie's never thought of that because he was just a sitting duck to her. And also she turns off the lights of the crime scene when she leaves. And then when she returns later,
that's a clue.
Yeah, when she returns later on to put the ATM card along with the money she withdrew in his pocket, and also by leaving she also leaves some incriminating files lying around. She leaves the lights on. Oh wait, does she turn him off? She leaves him on, or does she turn him off when she?
She turns him off because she doesn't want the security guard coming in. Because if he sees those lights on, he's coming in.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's not ready yet. She's still got to go on her date with Leland. She's still got to go to the ATM, come back, deposit the cash, and then clean up the crime scene. Because that threw me off at first. Because after she killed Charlie, she just leaves. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking she's not going to wipe her fingerprints. She's not doing anything. That if Columbo has taught me anything in my life is that you clean up, you wipe your fingerprints,
but you
rip the couch cushions out of the place and kind of mess the place up. Like no, not at all. But she does.
But her fingerprints would be all over everything in there anyway, because she works there.
Right.
So I don't think she needs to worry about that. Although later on we see her using a little handkerchief, a little hanky, when she's handling the files and taking them out of the drawer and making sure that the drawers popped open so the police would notice the fact that those files were handled. And so cut.
And there's
Go ahead.
No, please. I always talk over you.
Oh no. Of course, we then cut to the funeral, where this time we get a point of view shot, not a point of view shot, but a voiceover of the young lady who works there in the office who came in and Dee Dee, that's right.
I know Dee Dee. I cannot place her. I've seen that face before. Like I want to say it's been on Gilligan. Oh my god, I can't even talk anymore. It's on Gilligan's Island. I'm pretty sure. I know I've seen that.
Well,
face.
I looked. I thought she was somebody else too. And I looked her up, and she's not in anything that I recognized. And I think I know who I'm mistaking her for. Two people. One is Victoria Jackson, who was on the Saturday Night Live at this time. It was in the early 90s, late 80s, I think. And also
she's crazy.
Twin Peaks. She played the actress. I don't know the actress's name, but there was a lady that looked just like her that played the receptionist at the police station in Twin Peaks. Anybody? Do you know that show? No. Never seen Twin Peaks? Oh, maybe we'll do that for the next podcast. But I couldn't play. There was a lot of people in here, like even the Sergeant Brady. I thought he looked familiar, but I think I know why he looked familiar. He looked like the guy that Abigail Mitchell locked in the safe in that one episode. He was even dressed the same.
Catch me, or something like that.
Catch me if you can. Yeah.
No, that's a movie. You're thinking.
Oh God! I just.
Okay, so she does set the time. She's totally setting up Leland, by the way, which I feel sorry for, even though he's a prick. So she does the old trying to make somebody remember the time. So when they go to her to qualify her alibi, they'll remember the time. And so she says to Leland as she's climbing out of... Well, no, I'm sorry. They just finished fellatio. No. Probably.
Yeah, well, he's still wearing his pants. I don't know if you noticed that.
Is he? I didn't know.
Yeah, the sheet moved a little bit, and you could just see the top part of his pants.
All I know is you got a nice side boob of Vivian. That's the only thing my eyes were distracted. Sorry.
And as you do when you're a woman and you're with you're with the man that you're having intimate relationships, you always get out of bed with the sheets wrapped up all the way to your neck, so he can't see your boobs.
Well, this is a family show, Sean. So she tells him, "I'm leaving." He goes, "But it's 2 a.m, dear." And she goes, I forgot what her excuse was. About leaving for 2 a.m. It was something very sophisticated sounding, but so she's letting him know 2:00. Keep that in mind, because when the cops come calling, you're gonna remember 2:00.
Yeah. And so
back to the funeral. Now, this is one of the things I may not like. We'll find out at the end of this podcast. But the flashbacks to the very beginning of the funeral again. So yeah, we're brought back to the funeral. Yeah, now it's Dee Dee's turn. We get to hear Dee Dee's voiceover. The first one we got to hear Vivian's voiceover. Now we have Dee Dee. Okay. Dee Dee talks about how she feels sorry for Columbo and the poor wife, and what a nice guy he was,
and we're gonna get to this, but it's Dee Dee. They're not the only ones. No, Leland is at the funeral too with his wife.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Let's talk about Dee Dee first.
Okay, all right.
It's Dee Dee's turn. It's Dee Dee's story now.
But it's not really her story. She just talks to him for a few minutes in the office.
Well, it's her turn. It's her turn to tell her part of the story.
Yeah, I guess.
So we see she's crying. Obviously, Dee Dee's the one. The next morning after the murder, she discovers Charlie's body, and so you see at her desk crying. The police are already on the scene, and Columbo is doing his Columbo thing. He's walking around. He's looking for clues. He's looking at photos. Sees a photo of Grace Kelly or somebody who looks like Grace Kelly.
Kim Novak.
Who's Kim Novak? I don't know who that is. What?
Vertigo? You ever see Vertigo?
Yes.
That's Kim Novak.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm surprised you saw Vertigo.
Well, obviously, I'm easily confused like Columbo. They all look the same to me. So.
Well, yeah, Hitchcock blonde. That's what I call it. It's Grace Kelly, too.
But yeah, so this is when Vivian shows up, and she knows. She sees Columbo. You can tell she's completely distracted by Columbo.
You know what? That's a really good point. Like, she's almost obsessed with him. Yes. Which she is, because that's her mode. Well, keep on going. We'll get into that. But I made a note that Columbo, when he's investigating the crime scene, he does everything except look at Charlie's shoes. I'm like, you know what? I think that we've run out of all the episodes where he does something with shoes or socks. I don't think there's going to be any more shoes or socks in Columbo, Steve. I think we've run dry.
We'll see.
Anyway, so she shows up. I can't remember what happens next. Columbo talks to her. He asks her where she was. She's like, "Oh, you don't think I killed him, do you?" "Oh, no, ma'am, it's for the record." He says this like 10 times, for the record. For the record.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he suspects her almost immediately.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that the second time he talks to her, when she's in front of her house gardening, he suspects her. But when he meets her at the office, he doesn't suspect her. Because after this... he finds a piece of paper in Charlie's pocket with some letters and numbers on it.
Yes. Even I was a little confused by this. So apparently we find out later, he's going through his belongings, which actually leads him. It's so subtle. These are clues. These are other clues that Vivian is not aware of.
Yeah.
That puts, I guess, her alibi out of order.
Yeah, the fact that she has an alibi, it makes her suspicious. So
but if it wasn't for that piece of paper in his pocket with those betting numbers, that wouldn't make sense, because he would have given in the bookie Joe. Yeah, we found out later. Money. That means he wouldn't have had the cat. So that it puts her story into question.
Right.
And I almost wonder if it wasn't for that, she may have gotten off.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because it's not just the letters and numbers that he finds, but he also finds an envelope full of cash and the envelope has the something hotel, some hotel on the upper left hand corner.
Right.
So he knows to go to that hotel. He knows that he sees the bookie. He knows what the numbers and the letters are. So he explains.
Right. He knows this. Yeah. It has to deal with betting.
Yeah. So he explains to Sergeant Brady later on, while they're going to get some ice cream, that the alibi must be false, because why would Charlie go and withdraw $200 when he had like $1,400 that he got from Joe earlier that day? Therefore,
right. Go ahead.
Since the alibi is false, the murderer has to be somebody who has an alibi. Since this is false, the murderer has to be somebody who has an alibi at that time. So it must be, what's her face? Vivian Dimitri.
Vivian.
Yeah. This is what he does, though. He never. Okay. This. Okay. Something goes. It's a little bit unusual for a Columbo episode because he once he figures out that it's her, he doesn't do any of the what about this? What about that with her? There's not a lot of cat and mouse going on. He explains all of his conclusions to Sergeant Brady.
Yes, and yeah, like the ice cream scene you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole time he's telling the sergeant, and this seems very early. I think this is like 30 minutes into the episode. He's telling the sergeant, I know she has an unusual interest in this, in myself, and my wife. She's setting things up. I know she's up to something, but I haven't put the pieces together as to why. So he suspects her, I feel like, almost immediately, and so the rest of the episode is just watching how he's going to trick her or try to piece these puzzle pieces together to make the final picture of Vivian as the murderer.
Right. Yes. So, we have to talk about chili. There is a chili scene in this episode,
yes.
and it's not at Barnes.
Grace, not Grace Kelly, but Grace serves the chili,
and it's terrible chili.
Because, well, yeah, I mean, you can't have chili with a Henrik making it, because anybody named Henrik can't make chili,
right?
But yeah, no. So yeah, this whole little. It was kind of interesting. It was a distraction, but we find out that Ramon went back to Mazatlan.
Mazatlan, maybe?
What?
Mazatlan?
Well, that's what he said. I don't know where this is.
He went back to El Prazo.
He's got one blue eye, one brown eye.
He's a Cowmany kitten, is what he is. That's those cats that are all white and they have one blue eye, one gold eye. Beautiful cats, but they run you about $1,000 each. You can't buy them anywhere in the U.S. except there's one lady in Ohio that breeds them. Anyway,
back to Columbo.
Yeah.
So it's horrible chili. He can't eat it. He just pays his tab and walks. It takes one single bite. Can't eat the chili.
Yeah.
I've never craved chili more in my life while doing this podcast with you. I normally don't even eat chili. I cannot wait until winter so I can start making chili.
Oh, you can. I make the best chili. You got to come and have my chili.
I'm gonna have.
You know what
Sean chili?
Yeah, it's it's actually my mom's recipe. You know what she does? She puts cinnamon and Hershey's powder in it.
What?
Yes, and that gives it an extra. It doesn't taste like that, but
that sounds horrible.
I shouldn't even told you anything. You know what? Whatever. I'll make it for you when you come to visit, which will be never.
That's not true. But anyways, so they decide to go out onto the wharf, onto the dock, and he's gonna he talks to the sergeant, tells him why he suspects Vivian, why she's up to something.
They filmed at this dock before, by the way, in Columbo. Did it look familiar to you?
I mean, he's been on a lot of docks before, but no, I didn't recognize it.
I think it was the same location that they used for The Conspirators with the Irish guy. You remember that one? That was a long time ago we did that one. Yeah, there was an episode.
Yeah, pinball machines, yeah.
Oh, you remember the pinball machine. Steve remembers something. Of course.
Well, if anybody fans from the other podcast know, I'm a big fan of pinball, so of course I would recognize that. But the only episode I can remember. But yeah, he has a orange, like a creamsicle or something. By the way, I was at work like about 2 weeks ago, walking around the complex, and an ice cream truck comes into the parking lot and drives around slowly with the music. And I thought, this is hilarious. This is a guy that's selling ice cream to a bunch of business people. I just thought that was funny.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I would, So would you buy an orange sickle? I mean, it was a big one too.
I haven't had them in a long time. It's been a long time since I've had a creamsicle. You mean? I don't know. Sure, I'd buy one if you were gonna, especially if you were gonna pay, Steve. So next time we see,
I would buy. You get the chili, I'll get the creamsicle. But yeah, so Columbo eats it. Ouch! He's got cold on a bad tooth, and we find out, he doesn't have a dentist. His dentist, as you mentioned earlier in this podcast, that moved to Florida, and he doesn't have a dentist now. So, who was calling the homicide department? Who could it be but Vivian?
Right. I think that's kind of a tenuous conclusion, but whatever. He's onto her. He's onto her for sure. And he's also onto the fact that she's trying to frame the people that live in the Falcon Estates or whatever it is, because there's a lawsuit going against Charlie or his firm. Especially, she wants to frame this guy, Mr. Connolly, who's kind of a hothead, and she happened to...
He's an asshole.
Yeah. She,
he really is.
She threw the gun away in the vacant lot next door to his house. So they make a big show of picking him up for questioning and all that, just so that he can it gets back to her, and she can be confident that they're going to arrest him and not her. So, which again makes this a little different from any of the other Columbos. I can't remember what happens next. That's important.
Okay. Let me. I'll give you a multiple choice question.
Okay.
I'm going to answer your question. What you think the next scene will be?
Mm-hmm.
So after the scene with the creamsicle, do we go to a scene where Columbo goes back to his office to relay some information to the sergeant?
No.
That's A. B. Does he go back to do we go back to a funeral scene where his supposed fictional wife has died? Or C, does he go to a rocket ship that goes into outer space and he fights Darth Vader?
Okay. The answer, it's a trick question, because the answer is none of those. No, we go back to a funeral, right? And this time we're talking to Leland. We get to hear Leland talk, or his brain talk. And we get to see...
Right. Look at me, Vivian. Look at me. I'm here with my wife. You see me. I can see you. You can see me.
You sound like Stewie from Family Guy. Look at me, Vivian. So, this is the thing. Okay, so, all right. So, first we've got Vivian at the funeral. Then we've got Dee Dee. Now we have Leland and Mrs. Leland at the funeral.
Well, about to soon-to-be divorced Mrs. Leland.
Well, she knows about the affair.
I don't know how she figured out.
Well,
how did she find out that he was fooling around?
I don't know.
They never explain that. Yeah,
but why is he why are these people at their funeral? Why? Why would like?
Well, I can see Dee Dee, because Dee Dee is an emotional. She's very caring. She's empathetic. She would want to support the poor police officer that was nice to her. Leland, he'd be like, no, I'm not going to that.
Yeah, and
I'm not dragging my wife, who's I'm about to divorce.
I'm expecting
who caught me cheating on her.
Next thing you know, it's going to be Grace the chili lady at the funeral. It's like all these like totally unrelated.
Why wasn't Grace the chili person there?
So Columbo goes.
Why wasn't Ramon from Pakistan come back for this funeral? I want to know.
Mazatlan. Completely different country. Okay. So he goes to talk to Leland St. John at the golf course, where I did not know this, but you're supposed to wear special shoes if you're out in the green. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
Yeah.
We're both not golfers, so that's what you get.
Yet another scene at a golf course. We've had several of them so far. We've had both the Robert Culp episodes that we did recently had golfs. Anyway, okay. So
yes. So we go. Let's flash forward. We got another funeral scene. This is with Vivian now talking again. I don't really know what she's saying, but now she's talking about Pete's death in her mind, I guess. But we do find out about a Dr. Stedman.
Oh, yes. Dr. Stedman from San Francisco.
I love Dr. Stedman.
Yes.
The most melancholy guy, medical doctor. What kind
psychiatrist.
of doctor is he?
He's a psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist.
Do you know this actor, Roscoe Lee Brown? Do you know him at all?
I've seen him. I can't. Again, it's like the 5th time I said that in this episode. I recognize the guy, but I can't tell you what I've seen him in.
I got excited because I looked him up. Do you know? Yeah. You know what? You're talking about voiceovers. He was the voiceover in the movie Babe. The pig was a blah 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 blah. You remember? Do you ever see the movie?
That
Babe?
wasn't James Cromwell. James Cromwell.
James Cromwell was the farmer Hoggett. By the way, James Cromwell would make a great Columbo villain.
He's still alive too.
Yeah. Oh, and he was in American Horror Story as well. Anyway,
he was.
He won an Emmy for that.
He was the Nazi guy in my favorite season. Yeah, that's right. Gotta love the Nazis. Oh God. No. Can't believe I said that.
I have to say, the Nazis had.
Well, let me refrain. So, love the Nazis as villains, not as. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, there goes our Jewish listeners. Anyway, you gotta say though, the Nazis had some pretty sexy outfits, if you ask me. Designed by Hugo Boss. Stop. That is a true story. That's a true story. And you know what? They had better outfits than anybody else in the world. They were just so cool looking. Anyway.
Wow. Absolutely horrible.
What's wrong with saying the Nazis had nice uniforms? They were.
No, they're horrible. Horrible people.
I'm not saying that they're good people. Cruella de Vil's not a good person, but she's got fabulous clothes. See? The Nazis had great outfits, had great uniforms. Really cool uniforms.
I feel like we've lost half our audience already. All right, so... Please edit that out.
Where do you think they got the ideas for the costumes for the commanders in Star Wars from Nazi uniforms?
Back to Columbo.
Hold on, I got to check this box off. Okay, we got the blacks before. We've got the Asians right away. We took care of them. Now, okay, I can check off Jews. I'm gonna make a note.
Italians, we've slandered
Italians. I don't think we've done the gays yet. We got to do the gays, transgender. Okay, I'll put my list down now. All right. So,
so Dr. Stedman, what were we saying? So Dr. Stedman, he was in what?
He was the voiceover in Babe. Remember, there's some.
What else? Yes.
I don't remember what else, but that was the only thing that I really recognized him in. I just assume that the listeners are only interested in what I'm interested in, so I. Dr. Stedman unfortunately is no longer with us. He died.
Oh, that's sad because he was really interesting. He literally had 2 minutes, and it was really fantastic 2 minutes. Watching him eat snails, like I normally would want to eat snails, but I want to eat snails now. He's talking about how delicious they are with garlic. He's just enjoying his meal. It's like, who's the actor who plays
Roscoe Lee Brown?
Roscoe Lee Brown. They're like, Roscoe, we need you for Columbo. We'll just need you for maybe 30 minutes of recording, and we'll feed you this most fantastic meal. He's like, I'm done. I'm there.
Yes,
I'm absolutely doing that.
I would like a snails and a small mariner's salad, please.
Yes, and so a nice glass of wine.
Yes.
I mean, the guy is enjoying himself. Absolutely enjoying. I thought he was great.
There's something that bugs me about this scene, though, and I'm going to tell you, this is something that could have been avoided. What?
When he goes to the restaurant?
Yeah, there's something about because Columbo would actually enjoy eating snails, and I think in a previous episode he claimed to have enjoyed them. In any case, Columbo is also a bit of an Epicurean or a gourmand, if you will.
Yes, we discussed this.
Yeah,
yes.
So I don't think that he would really be put off by eating snails.
Yeah, he kind of shames him.
Yeah.
He says, "Why is there garlic? Is that to cover up the taste of the snails?" What?
And we have a traditionally snooty waiter, possibly of homosexual.
Go on.
I would say homosexual origin, but anyway.
So garmage. Was it called?
Garnet.
Garnet. Yeah. So Columbo orders a BLT, which is baconless tomato sandwich, which are delicious. By the way, Garnet. I don't know what a Garnet is.
Garnier. I don't know either. I think it's just a fancy word for garnish.
Whenever we do our Columbo convention, we've got to have foods. So chili, hard-boiled eggs. We've got to have BLT or Grenache.
Yeah, and possibly snails, but they're probably really expensive. Or, I'm sorry, escargot. Have you ever had escargot, by the way?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. I just don't... I mean, it's been... Oh, my God. It's probably been over 20 years.
It just basically tastes like garlic because they're just like soaked in butter and garlic. And the snails by themselves probably don't taste bad, but they don't...
But the way Dr. Stedman eats them, I mean, like the sounds from his mouth while he's enjoying them is just... He's so happy.
Yes, Dr. Stedman. We could just have like an hour of Dr. Stedman eating snails.
I could. It made me so hungry.
So he learns from Dr. Stedman. Of course, Dr. Stedman is not going to tell him anything about Vivian because of the doctor-patient privilege.
I hate that. Oh, yeah. But he's able to give him a weak nod, like don't trust her. Columbo apparently goes to the library at some point and finds a book about a woman who wants revenge, and so she takes revenge on the guys, but not by killing the guy, but killing his wife.
Yes.
Where that came from, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I was
left field.
Yeah, and Dr. Stedman tells him it would be a very bad idea for your wife and Vivian to meet.
That is so creepy. The dude just needs to tell Columbo what's going on.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I would not.
She plans on flat out fucking killing you and your wife and your family and your aunts and your nephews and all the other
cousins
you have that you talk about. They're all dead.
The twins.
They're all dead.
Yeah.
But I'm going to enjoy this escargot while she does it.
I think that he has a basis for waiving the doctor-patient privilege if he believes that somebody's life is in danger.
Well, yeah, even Columbo says, someone has died.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned there's going to be more deaths.
Yeah.
But you need to tell me what's going on. He's like, no, he's going to enjoy this escargot.
Great, you made him sound really dumb and stupid. There goes the black audience members. Okay.
I said nothing about that.
Okay, fine. All right, so Columbo knows that Vivian wants to kill him and maybe even his wife. And so he goes over... Oh, wait! Oh, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about the creepy slideshow scene.
The what?
The creepy slideshow scene where Vivian's at home... listening to music in the dark.
Yes, I love this scene.
Oh my God.
As a matter of fact, I think this sells Vivian as a mentally disturbed person.
Okay, yes. Yes, it does.
And as a reason. It's actually a really beautiful scene. So she's in her home watching videos of Pete, whatever his name is.
Slideshow.
And she's getting drunk. Which one would do because they're sad, and she goes up to the slideshow, which is being projected from one of those big slide machines. I don't know what they're called, but onto a big white screen. And as she goes up to the screen, Pete is on her wardrobe, and she's hugging him, and it's really quite beautiful. Actually, I like that scene.
I thought it was filler. It was puffing or padding. I thought
not at all.
I thought it was.
The music
ridiculous.
was beautiful.
Oh my God!
No, I love this scene. I thought this was one of the better scenes, kind of explaining the villain. At this point, why she was doing what she was doing was a little out there. This kind of made her more human to me.
Huh. Okay, I guess. But during the middle of it, she gets a phone call from Leland, who tells her that his wife is onto them. And
no, not onto him yet. She knows.
Yeah,
she knows.
Yeah. And she knows. She took away all the phones except for this princess phone that I have to use to call you right now. I hate using this phone. So then,
well, and she's used him. She's used him as an alibi, and he knows it now.
Maybe,
I think.
maybe you can talk to my wife. Well, if I talk to your wife, I'm going to tell her that I'm madly in love with you. So next, we see Columbo coming to visit Vivian, and she's enjoying some English muffins and marmalade, and he says, marmalade, I think my wife likes that, and I don't like it. And so that gives her an idea. After she leaves, she's pondering, looking at the marmalade, putting her finger in it, pondering. Well, the next scene, what do you know? She shows up when Columbo and Sergeant Brady are talking with a gift for Mrs. Columbo.
Yeah, and again, he's talking to Sergeant Brady about, he suspects her and why he thinks it's her and not one of the neighbors. Yeah. And so she gives him a gift of the marmalade, which is laced with whatever poison.
Yeah, they never explain what the poison is, which kind of frustrates me. Like, couldn't they just say it was digitalis or something like that, I don't know. It just seemed kind of lazy to me. But
those big words.
Yeah, that's all they say.
It.
Yeah. So her plan is that Mrs. Columbo will eat the marmalade and Mrs. Columbo will die. And then it's just sort of gradually revealed that the funeral that they keep flashing back to is bum bum bum, Mrs. Columbo's funeral.
Now, did you think Columbo looked particularly sad?
Yeah. Oh, he did a great job at being sad.
Oh, you think?
Yes.
Oh, I disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
So, oh wow. Okay, so you put all your money on Vivian. I put all my money on Peter Falk here. I thought he was doing a great job being sad. Huh. Okay.
If Mrs. Columbo was real, yes.
Anyway.
I'm kidding.
So
So we find out that Mrs. Columbo has been poisoned. Well, no. She's dead. She died of a heart attack.
Neighbor found her on the kitchen floor. And that is the longest eulogy ever, because not only does it stop raining,
holy cow,
but everybody dries off by the time they're done with the funeral. And the sun comes out. Yeah. So.
Oh, I did forget. I was going to bring up the sun. So the scene where Vivian is sleeping with Leland, and she's got her towel around her side boob. He's wearing pants. In the hotel, 2 a.m. There's the camera pans up. We see the window sunlight coming in. 2 a.m.
You know what?
There's sun.
I think I noticed that in The Office as well. When she comes back to put Charlie's ATM card in his pocket, when she walks in the front door, it's dark, but in the office windows, there's light coming in. Unless it was just sort of the light from. It's probably I don't know. So, So Columbo says to her, because you would do this. He mentions that, her mother's still alive, 82. Grandmother died at 91.
90.
Well,
90, yeah.
Why isn't her mother at the funeral? Was that the old Italian lady?
Yeah, maybe it was. There was an old Italian lady.
Standing next to Dee Dee. Columbo says, and Vivian, are you ever going to smarten up? He says, well, could you mind coming back to my house? I don't feel like being alone right now. And she's like, oh, now's my chance. Of course I'll go back to your house. So we get to see the inside of Columbo's house. Supposedly. There's a tank of fish. There's a
wait. Take a fish. Did you notice there were no fish?
Some really ugly plastic plants, but no fish. You're absolutely right.
No fish. He was feeding. Mrs. Columbo feeds those fish every day, 3 times a day, whatever.
Yeah.
She walks dog, by the way, 5 times a day. I thought that was interesting. We find out in this episode, but no fish in the fish tank.
Oh, and they never had children. Ha! Never had children. So, to hell with you, Mrs. Columbo's spinoff. You're getting it all wrong. There's a picture of them. They took an old picture of Peter Falk from the 70s in the raincoat and matched it up with a picture of his wife. they go sit down in the kitchen to have a snack because
before we speaking of the raincoat, we have to rewind completely back to when he meets Joe the Booker.
Oh God,
he walks in and there's a guy wearing the same raincoat that he's wearing.
I forgot to write that down. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Oh, we almost passed that up. Oh my God.
Well, it's done so quickly that he just sort of pauses for a second and looks behind him really quick. Yeah.
And then he looks down at his own jacket like, oh my God, that guy's wearing the same jacket I am.
Yeah. When else did this happen? And then the one where he goes to the porn shop. Remember that?
Yes.
There was that guy wearing
hey, what are you hiding under that jacket?
And the guy goes, looks like we'll both be having a nice time tonight or something.
Oh God.
Oh. So, so he sits down to have a snack. He pulls out the jar of marmalade.
It has scrambled eggs.
Yeah. Quick. He makes eggs real quick, too.
He loves eggs. Columbo loves eggs.
Yes, he does.
What do you think he likes more, chili or eggs?
Well, he says he likes chili more, but I really think he likes eggs just as much. Yeah, this is not the first time we see him make eggs. He's made eggs in other episodes.
He has.
Yeah, and he made them really quick in this episode too. I mean, like, I didn't think you could heat up a pan that quickly. You must have electric.
You made me eggs, and they were still raw.
Yeah. So he eats the marmalade, puts some on a toast, and then puts the toast in his mouth and eats it. And is it getting hot in here? Oh man, blah 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 blah. He's gonna die, and then that's when Vivian says, "Yeah, you're gonna die, Columbo." Or no, it's a much more.
I'm
downplaying it.
Actually, Columbo kind of eggs him on. So he gets a phone call after he eats the marmalade, and this is all fictional. That's what we find out. So he gets a phone call, picks it up, says she's been poisoned. What? And of course, Vivian is listening in, and he tells her like, "Oh, they found that she was poisoned." And is it hot in here? And he's pulling on his neck collar and his tie. Excuse me, I'm gassy tonight. It's burping left and right. But he's trying to also push Vivian into a confession. He said, "Well, it's such a shame, you know, and your husband, he was mentally unstable." And boy, she just like slaps her hand down on the table and he goes, "No, he wasn't."
Yeah.
And he kind of prods her a little.
Yeah.
Because as far as she knows, he's been poisoned, and he's prodding her. He's pushing her, so she's going to confess, and that's exactly what happened. She confesses not only to poisoning Mrs. Columbo, the fictional Mrs. Columbo, she confesses to killing Charlie, and she confesses to trying to kill him.
Yep, and that's when he says,
"Surprise! I'm fine." Woohoo! Does a little jig and dances around, and he's fine.
Brady comes from behind the scenes, the tape recorder. The police come in to haul her away, and he says, he says something to her that's actually really good. He delivers it really well. He said, "You killed Mr. So-and-so, you killed Charlie, you wanted to kill my wife, and you were about to kill me. And I take that very personally, ma'am." And what does she do? She smacks him in the face and calls him a bastard.
"You bastard."
Yeah, calls him a bastard. Does she cry?
She does, I think. No, so she cries early in the scene where she's talking to Columbo, and in this scene she cries.
Yeah.
There's a tear that runs down her eye.
So answer me this: what other episode? Actually, there's two other episodes. Tell me the name of an episode with a male murderer who cries after he's been caught.
A male?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, folks. The answer.
Not Robert Culp. Robert Culp does not cry.
It's Robert Culp. Robert Culp.
What?
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't realize this until we did our episode for Double Exposure. That's the one with the subliminal cuts. When I was doing, I do basically screen caps of the episodes and pictures of the murder for when I put this, advertise this show basically on Twitter. And I went to the final scene where we see him holding up a slide to the light, and he's laughing. He's laughing. and I saw a tear roll down his cheek. I swear to God,
Really?
He's crying. He's like doing that laughing, hysterical crying thing. And I've seen that I don't know how many times, but Robert Culp cries when he gets caught at the end of Double Exposure.
Wow. No, I didn't.
Yeah, go back, pull out the DVD. You'll see what I mean. You can only see it if you're looking for it, and you can only see it on the DVD probably. So not that we have this on Blu-ray,
or maybe the Japanese Blu-ray.
Yeah, exactly. Or the American,
or $5,000.
Yeah, exactly. Well, somebody get the fuck on that. You know what the fuck? And sold in a.
Why is it $400? That doesn't make any sense.
And it's so cool. It's like in a cigar box. It's out of print. That's why it's $400. I think, right?
Oh, I don't know. Is it out of print?
I think it is, and so people are selling it.
Oh, that may explain it. Yeah.
If it's Japanese, wouldn't it work over here?
Yeah.
I mean,
but it may be. Columbo may be talking in Japanese.
Oh yeah.
So that could be a problem.
Well, I'm sure that anyway. So and then Columbo, the episode ends. They haul Vivian off. Columbo picks up the phone and calls his wife and says to her, "Oh, I've got this picture of your sister Rita.
Of your sister. There's no flipping picture of the wife." Okay, we're gonna get there.
Okay, and
Steven, calm down. We're gonna discuss it. We're gonna discuss it.
One of these days, we're gonna have to go and get a proper picture taken. You can take one with the head and without the head.
But you can't because you're dead. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Finished. Okay, so now I have to ask you, Steve, before we rate this thing, what is... Okay, so if Mrs. Columbo does not exist, how did he get the police to pull all this off?
Because they all know he's got a weird quirk.
Uh-huh.
And they all know she does not exist. That's part of my why I'm going to rate this episode. Let's rate it first.
Okay.
This.
All right. Okay.
Okay, sir. So
I know what you're going to
There were a lot of numbers.
I noticed that.
A lot of numbers in this episode, and I kept thinking Sean is going to be guessing so wrong on so many levels. If your first guess is correct, I'll be ecstatic.
Okay.
What do you think my number is going to be, and where's that number related?
The number is 9.
No. Why 9?
Because there were 9 cents in Charlie's pocket.
There was. Okay. But you're very close.
Okay.
You're thinking along the same lines as I was. So the number is 1,959 or 1959. The dime that he found that was still silver.
Golly, yeah.
Yeah. I thought you would have got this one this time.
Oh, okay. All right. 1959, huh? Okay.
So I think you reviewed it last time, so it's my turn.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
Go first. All right, so I'll start off the bat. I liked Helen Shaver. I thought she was great. She was fucking... I mean, she played that character as a fucking nut, and she was fucking nuts. Absolutely. She was crazy and scary. Scary crazy. Pulled it off. I hope to God that she's not really like that, but she convinced me that was a real person.
Okay.
What I didn't like the soap opera kind of feel to it. I'm still not really 100% sure how Columbo figured out that Vivian was playing him. I'm not convinced of that. I don't have a full grasp on that. And I didn't like the constant flashbacks to the funeral. And I hate to disappoint our Columbo fans, but out of 1,959, I'm going to give it like 623.
Ooh! Oh my gosh! You really did not like this, did you?
I did not. Second time I've watched this, and did not enjoy it.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, I actually agree with most of what you just said. I despised the funeral scenes. This is gimmicky. It's just a gimmicky episode.
Gimmicky, yes.
It's like, ooh, Mrs. Columbo's gonna die. But I'm willing to bet that the first time you saw this, you knew she's not dead. It's not her. She's not in that coffin. That would just be ridiculous. That would be the show jumping the fucking shark.
I knew that was ridiculous because there's no Mrs. Columbo.
No. Okay. So watching this, I've seen this several times actually throughout the years, and I think that it does not hold up well at all. I hate the funeral scenes. I think we could totally do without them. It's insulting to the audience, not to mention
It is. Yes, it is.
They look terrible, and like I said, why the hell are all those people there at Mrs. Columbo's funeral? And the fact that they call it "Rest in Peace, Mrs. Columbo," that's just to get to pull the viewers in, you know? Right. There's usually in Columbo, the murderer is somebody that's somebody. Well, she wasn't badly off, but usually our murderer is like a famous movie star or a doctor, or famous lawyer, or something like this. This lady was just a real estate agent. Nothing against real estate agents, but I think she lacked the upper classiness that most other Columbo murderers have. I don't think that she was scary. I don't think that she was all that good. I'm surprised that you think that, but I'm glad that you enjoyed her performance. I think she was good in the last scene when she finally confesses, when her craziness is showing. I thought the part with the slideshow and her dancing around was absurd.
No.
I thought the murder was boring. I mean, it was really a boring murder. There was nothing interesting or compelling about the murder other than she tried to give herself an alibi with the ATM. And that was the alibi. That was the fact. Sorry, it was the ATM clue that gave it away that she was the murderer in Columbo. That's how he knew it was
her. Dr. Stedman even says her goal's not to get... In this case, she's not to get away with the murder. She wants satisfaction of the revenge.
Right. It doesn't matter to her if she's arrested at the end of this. As long as Columbo dies and he knows that she... Yeah. I guess. However, I've got to tell you, though, I wish Dr. Stedman was the murderer in one of these. He'd make a great murderer.
Yes. Was it creepy that at the end when Columbo's talking about the poison and he doesn't understand, what are you saying, Vivian? Are you saying that you killed... he's kind of prompting her. And the whole time she gets up from her chair, she takes off her hat, and she's massaging Peter Falk's head. Mm-hmm. That is so creepy. That's why I think, like, if I were to give this any positive, it was Helen Shaver's performance. I mean, she was just creepy.
Yeah.
Massaging Columbo's head as he's supposedly dying and drifting into eternal sleep. That is just dark.
So, I sat down to watch this earlier today, or actually right before we started recording, expecting that I was going to relive a nightmare and despise this. Mm-hmm. And turns out I didn't hate it as much as I remembered. So I'm giving it a 1,175. It was just kind of okay. It was just a hair above average.
So why do you think this would be the definitive proof that there was a Mrs. Columbo?
That was before I saw the episode again.
So I'm right, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that you're right. I think that there's proof. I think that there's proof and that there's a Mrs. Columbo by that episode.
There's not even a real photo of her, Sean. The photo in the episode is of her sister, which I believe... Okay, I still believe there was a Mrs. Columbo, but she's long gone.
Okay. All right. Well, there is no proof to support your theory. I'm sorry. There's more to support my theory that she's still alive.
In his mind, in Columbo's mind, there is a Mrs. Columbo.
Well, somebody did write.
That's the only place where she exists.
You may remember somebody did exist. Somebody did write us to say that there is a Mrs. Columbo, but it's actually his mom that he lives with. But that would be kind of creepy because then he's calling her his.
Oh, that is so many levels of. Oh, I gotta think on this.
Well, okay, so the episode, An Exercise in Vitality, he's at the crime scene, and he gets a phone call from his wife. Who is he getting a phone call from? And that's when the person wrote in and said maybe it was his mother.
Wow.
Because, like old Italian
More
mom.
levels of theory here. Oh,
but why he would call her his wife, I don't know, but that's almost, yeah.
Or maybe a sister, some relative.
Yeah, maybe it'll come up in the Columbo porn that we finally find out about.
God, I hope
Columbone.
That's so horrible. All right, it was awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got.
That was a great episode. It was absolutely horrible. 1990s.
You know what? I gotta tell you, I told you. There's how many? There's now 5 left. And of the 90s, and the Wig and Wheel of the 90s, just by pure chance, picked all the good ones first and left us with crap. Of the 5 that are left, there's only 1 that I remember liking.
I'm just happy that we got the episode that you thought would prove Mrs. Columbo.
Okay, all right,
was an actual character. I feel this. I've jumped that hurdle. This does not prove it to me.
Oh,
so it's all downhill. I'm so happy because I thought there was an ace up your sleeve that would prove to me that there was a Mrs. Columbo, and this was not it.
Okay. All right, so we've got some feedback. We got some bad feedback, which I'm going to save for last.
Okay.
I want to give a big shout out to Dia Plouffe. D.A. Plouffe. On the old podcast app there, who left us some fabulous feedback. And by the way, a big thank you to people who are leaving feedback. We've got 38 ratings so far, which is about as much as we got for our. That's how much we got for the TARDIS Tavern, and
and we were hitting like 1,300 downloads on that one a month.
Yeah.
So we're getting more feedback on this one. Wow.
So they say, I love the subject heading for this review. It says, I grade this podcast a 68 out of 69. Why did he pick 69? Okay.
I don't know. That's weird. That's such an unusual number.
Oh, I know what. He explains it here. He says, out of all the Columbo podcasts that are out there, Sean and Steve are my favorites. That doesn't mean we're the best, folks. That just means we're this guy's favorites. And I'm saying guy. I'm just assuming because I'm sexist. Okay. They have a fun podcast that actually runs longer than the episode itself with lots of interesting facts as well as their personal opinions about the episode. I enjoy their grading system, which varies each episode from some numbers seen or heard in the show. My grade in the title is based on the 69 Columbo episodes. They even make the 90s episodes enjoyable. Thanks for creating this podcast.
I love it.
Okay.
That's nice.
All right. And we got some feedback via the old email. So lube yourself up there, Steve. We're going to enjoy ourselves by listening to some lovely email. Okay. This is from a guy named Dave. Dave is the one who left us the feedback on the iTunes. Because that's his last name. Okay, I see. Dear Sean and Steve, thank you so much for creating the Columbo Confab podcast. I've enjoyed listening since season 5 when I found you guys and enjoy your take on these episodes. Nice. You even make the 90s episodes, which I was never a fan of, enjoyable. See? Same guy. I live in Los Angeles. It's not a joke. I live in Los Angeles and make it.
So he knows what it's like.
I live in Los Angeles and make it a point to visit many of the locations of the Columbo TV series.
That's cool. That is really cool. Oh my god, that's awesome.
You know what? You could make a fucking living. Do a Columbo tour.
You and I need to go to California one summer and just visit those spots.
Yeah.
And eat chili and
Go to Barney's Beanery, which exists.
Yeah.
I guess I do have a lot of free time on my hands, but I frickin' love this show. Attached, you'll find a picture of me at the Stall House, which appeared in the first pilot, Prescription Murder. Even though I have seen each Columbo episode dozens of times, I even remember staying up late to watch them in the 70s, you still managed to bring somewhat new you still managed to bring something new to my attention, and I appreciate that. Finally, I'm adding a link to a video I uploaded that was the opening to the Sunday Night Mystery, which every third week was Columbo. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so yeah, he did attach a picture. It's actually really cool. He's got a picture of the Stall House, of the interior of the Stall House, and one picture, and I don't think it's from the Columbo episode. It's probably from a movie. It looks like it's from the 60s or 70s, and then a picture of him present day standing in the same place where these people were standing, and it's pretty cool. I should send this to you. Let's see. One more. Just one more. This is from Mark C. No, it's Mark W, actually. Okay. He says, he entitles this one, A Bird in the Hand. That's the one with Tyne Daly and Greg Evigan. Mm-hmm. Hi, Sean and Steve. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Steve and Sean. I'm loving your podcast. I've listened to two of the other Columbo podcasts available, and I think yours is the best and most entertaining, so keep up the good work. Once again, this is as David Letterman would say, this is not a competition, it's an exhibition. Nobody's is really the best. He says, a couple bits of information for you. In episode 22 of your podcast, on the Bird in the Hand episode of Columbo, you both seemed unsure what the title meant. Columbo explained it right at the end. It refers to him being satisfied that he had sufficient evidence to arrest Tyne Daly for Greg Evigan's murder, but he was unable to prove she murdered her husband. Or to put it another way, securing her conviction for one murder, A Bird in the Hand, is worth more than waiting and maybe never getting conviction for both. Two in a bush. Also, yesterday I listened to your podcast on No Time to Die. That's the one with the kidnapping. Oh, okay. The preceding Columbo episode chronologically. One of you said you couldn't find the name of the actor who played Rudy Strassa, the kidnapper, who incidentally, I agree, was brilliant in the role. His name was in the opening credits. He is Daniel McDonald. Okay, by the way, I looked him up, and I found out that he's in a movie that I love called The Ice Storm, in which he plays a weatherman. Okay, so...
Okay.
And he ends it with saying, I'll keep listening to your podcast from my home in London. All the best, Mark. Oh, if I knew that he was from London, I would have read this with an English accent. And then possibly offended.
Oh, bloody hell.
Okay, I that's...
Sorry.
Yeah.
You can edit that out. Yeah.
I'm not editing that out. All right, one more bit of feedback. This is my favorite. And I have to begin with a qualifier here. Earlier today, I was looking at the reviews to see if anybody's left something, and I read this one, and I instantly took a screenshot of it, both to send to you and also to put it up on Twitter. Well, by the time we sat down to record this episode, this reviewer yanked his review from iTunes. Okay. And the review says disappointing. 2 stars.
Oh,
2 stars.
Wow. 2 out of 5?
Out of 5. Too bad they decided to make this a family unfriendly show by peppering it with a lot of profanity and vulgarities.
It's you, Sean.
If not for that, I would listen to it.
Not me.
But I'm mad that they yanked it. Because if somebody reads that, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'll read that. So I tweeted it, and I said, fuck you!
Oh, my God.
And I'm afraid that I just say anything. Maybe this person read it on Twitter and then deleted it. And I feel kind of bad then. Like, maybe I made him feel bad.
You are so unfamily friendly. It's ridiculous.
Well, you know what? When you elect a guy that says grab him by the pussy for president, what else do you expect?
What? Don't go political, please. We don't need it. We've already lost like 3/4 of our audience. Now you're going political.
Hold on.
There's only 2 people listening to this podcast.
I'm pouring some wine here. Somebody commented on that, by the way.
Jeez.
They said, last episode that was out.
I mean, Donald Trump was listening to our podcast. Now,
he'd be tweeting along. He'd be one of our followers.
No, he's like our major follower.
Yeah, he follows the White House. He follows
not anymore.
Sarah Sanders, Diamond and Silk, and the Columbo Confab podcast. If he was still hosting his show, which I loved, we could be on that show. We could be.
Obama's not listening to us.
No, Obama does not like Columbo.
No, he's white.
Oh my God! Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me put a double check mark next to it. Black people. All right. Oh, you know what? We haven't. You know what? Midgets. We haven't said anything about midgets. Oh wait, actually, wait. You're not even supposed to say
by
midgets.
Saying that you have. This podcast is ruined.
I think it's still a bit too late for that. All right, Steve.
Can we pick next episode? Can we get there?
Yes, we are getting there.
Let's stop. Let's pick the next episode and stop.
Steve, would you please spin the swinging wheel of the 70s?
I would be happy to. Let's do it.
Okay. It's going to be... Oh, Steve, guess what?
Yes.
It's going to be...
I can't wait.
Our first Jack Cassidy episode.
Oh? Oh, I'm excited.
Publish or Perish.
Publish or Perish.
Publish or Perish. In which he plays Riley Greenleaf, a publisher. I think we're going to enjoy talking about that more than we enjoy talking about Rest in Peace, Mrs. Columbo.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
And before we conclude tonight's episode, we got Columbo news.
Oh, we did?
Do we have Columbo news?
No, we don't have any Columbo news.
Nothing new?
No, nothing new. So, yeah, as you do, I'm on the Facebook over there. And, Steve, you technically have a Facebook account, but you are not on the Facebook, are you?
No, I'm not.
No, you hate everything. Okay, so there's a page called the Columbo Appreciation Society, and this fellow whose name is Ted Eckel, went through great pains tracking down. And then details all the way down to even the buttons of assembling his own Columbo raincoat, and
that's so awesome.
It looks awesome. And he took some pictures of himself posing, but you got one thing wrong, Ted. The tie's wrong. The back part of the tie has to be longer than the fatter front part of the tie. That's the only thing, because he listens to this. Also.
Does he? You know that?
Yeah, he did it in this episode that we're listening. You know what I mean? Like the front part of your tie.
Yeah,
it's the wider part. Like half the time, it's always shorter than the skinny part of the tie. Which about 50% of the time that I put a tie in myself, it turns out like that. But then I have to redo it. And also, I want to thank. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I don't remember who tweeted this to me. But remember when we did Grand Deceptions, which is as we record this, the last episode to be released. That's the one with Robert Foxworth and the General and all that. And there was the Columbo miniature at the end.
Yes.
Well, somebody actually sent me a link to buy a Columbo miniature. And it is cheap.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's about 25 euros.
You said 20 US. 20?
25 euros.
I thought you said 20 US.
And it's really cool. It's from a website called Metal Models. I know, it's a unique name. But I believe it's French. So it's Metal Modeles.
Oui.
Modeles. I don't know if they ship internationally if you're on our side of the pond, but it's kind of a cool figurine. But you.
Oh, you should put the link in the show notes.
Nobody reads the show notes for this.
No,
I don't think so. But that's what other podcasters do. We'll put a link in the show notes. Okay, sure. So yeah, check that out online. Do a search for it, and you should be able to find it. And I don't know. I've got nothing else, Steve. Nothing else to say here. I'm glad that we put Mrs. Columbo behind us, and we can go to watch Jack Cassidy. So in the meantime, good night, everybody.
Night.
Thank you for listening to the Columbo Confab podcast. To email us with a comment or question, write to columboconfab@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @columboconfab, and look for us on Facebook. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us some happy reviews on iTunes. I love clues. Hello, I'm Sean, and I'm the host of the 1001 Movies podcast, based on the book 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. Each episode, I randomly pick a film from the book and spend about 10 minutes talking about its director, the cast, the genre, and my personal thoughts on the merits of the film. Each delicious yet bite-sized episode contains information about a film from practically any genre, any country, or any year. Check us out on iTunes, and we'll send you free cookies. Some restrictions apply.